Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And today I'm so very privileged, very excited. I'm very honored. This is a very exclusive interview, and I'm pretty sure it will not going to happen again. And I'm so thankful with this person that we are talking today because she lent her time. I know that she's so busy, and as we all know, she's the Miss Announcement person from STEPN. Let's all welcome Gilgamesh. How are you today, Gilgamesh?
Hello. Hi. I'm glad to be on here. Thank you for hosting me.
Hmm.
And yeah, let's go.
Yeah, just a quick background because obviously most of us from the STEPN Discord just know you as Miss Announcement, who always obviously give us this amazing announcement. Can you please tell us a bit of your background? Are you just focused on Discord, or you're also doing something on the background for STEPN?
Okay, but I generally started with Discord as I was the Discord moderator, and then I got promoted as the community manager for StepN. Besides handling Discord, I also handle all the language groups for Telegram, also Facebook, a bit of Reddit, and also the customer support department for StepN.
All right, very, very busy. But I'll go straight to the hottest question, probably that everyone is wanting to ask and has been waiting for answers. And each time I go to the general part of our Discord server, this is the most, I think, hottest question for the day, which is, and I can understand what they're coming from. I think because of this latest update that we had so far encountered from the Step and app, the most of the people who had lost their missing or delayed assets in the app, what can you tell to them for those who are still waiting for their assets? Because I know you've already sent an announcement that in like 24 hours they should be automatically showing in their wallets. So what can you say to all those still panicking or waiting?
Yeah, most of the reported missing assets, missing sneakers, and missing tokens, most of these incidents have already been addressed. It's just going to take some time to address all their tickets. We still have a lot of tickets in the customer support queue, but we will actually have them all cleaned up in the next couple of weeks or so. The difficulty here is getting a time frame set for when everything will be resolved. Again, it's a combination of the number of tickets that are coming in and the lack of manpower at the side of the engineers who are addressing the concerns. But our target, our goal is to have all missing asset issues addressed in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks. All right. So speaking of those tickets, can you please just let us understand as the community, the process of, say, because for example, me, I've tried once. I go to the app, right, and then click the feedback button and fill up obviously what's wrong. So on your side, as the receiving end or the technical support, what's usually the process once you receive one ticket from the community?
So a normal ticket, yes, a normal ticket gets submitted to us via the in-app feedback button. Once we get that, normally the member will get an initial response. That's the response everyone gets the moment their ticket lands in our bucket. Now, it may take a while, but once we get to your ticket, first things first, we need to find out if you have provided us all the information that we need. So this is important. If you send us a ticket that just says, I lost all my items, but you did not provide any details like your wallet address, your sneaker ID, how much SOL or GST or GMT did you lose, then we have to come back to you and ask you these. So it actually lengthens the troubleshooting time for us and for you. So ideally, when you submit a ticket to us, it should contain all the details already. This is very rare, but let's assume that a ticket came in with all the details that we need. If we find that you really are missing your assets and we couldn't find them, we will have to escalate the ticket to our engineers who will then take a look at the back end. We're talking about API logs from the game, and they will try to find out what happened to your GST, your sol, your sneaker. Did you actually just forget that you sold it in the marketplace, or was it stuck during one of those times that Solana had an issue, etc. Once the engineer comes back and says, okay, so this is what happened, then we relay that information to the customer, then we close the ticket. Otherwise, if the engineers need more information, then we come back to the ticket and say, okay, we're missing this information, we need your help. But generally, that's how it goes.
Okay. So in saying that, just for us to understand, say I transferred from spending to my wallet, say 100 GST, just for us to have an example, and it got delayed. I cannot see it obviously in my wallet. So in your end, because for us we didn't know where it go. All we know is it's not showing in there. So in your end, does your system show or can check that this person really indeed lost this certain amount of wallet, so we can become confident that although it's not showing there, once we properly filled up the form and give all the information, it's guaranteed because you have a system that reflects all those transactions with the corresponding token number or sneaker number, something like that.
Yes. At my end, at our end, as the customer support team members that are answering the tickets, we know that when you submit anything, when you transfer anything from spending to wallet or wallet to spending or wallet to wallet, these are all transactions that are recorded in the blockchain. As long as they're recorded, they're not going to go anywhere. They don't just disappear. So it's just a matter of following the so-called paper trail of what happened when you, say, for example, transferred your assets from wallet A to wallet B, or from wallet A to spending, or from spending to wallet A. Um, it's just that the tracing is the part that takes the most amount of time. But it's always there. As long as it's recorded in the blockchain, it will be there. It's not going to disappear.
All right. I guess that's very important thing to note because some people just panic, but they don't know, they don't understand how blockchain works. And you said a while ago that obviously you lack manpower. I wonder what happened to those interns that were announced. I think there were batch 3 a few weeks ago, and then there's batch 4. Are you aware on that department, or another department is working in that? Like you don't have an idea, or do you have an idea what's going on with them? If are they
Okay.
currently being trained, or are they still studying, or
Mhm. I think what you're referring to are the support advocates
yes,
in
yes, yes.
Discord. So the moderator team in Discord is a separate group of people who are specialized in handling Discord and the Discord community. We also have a separate team that handles the Telegram community. There's also another team that's handling the Facebook community. Now, the customer support team are the people who are specifically tasked with responding to tickets that have been submitted via the in-app feedback button. So these are people who are actually focused on just answering the tickets that are coming in through this button, through this feedback button. So the moderator team is specifically and only for Discord. So it doesn't actually matter to the customer team how many batches of moderators there are in Discord. So yeah, they're two separate groups handling two very different set of tasks.
Yeah, and do you know if they had already started? Because what I noticed is because obviously I'm very active in the Step and Discord as well. I can't recognize who are the real moderators or advocates versus, because as you know, all those elite groups are having step in as well on their name, like me. So sometimes I'm thinking, who are the real support advocates here? Because they're mixed up. So for me personally, I cannot distinguish between the real step and advocates and just the other supporters or the elite group.
Okay, the best determining factor would be taking a look at the color of the names
Mm-hmm.
of the members in the community. So the support advocates and the lead support share the same color. They have red names. Moderators have yellow names. So there's only like four people with yellow names. That would be Gilgamesh, Loot Money, Mr. White Bot, and Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else would have red names. So as long as you can see they have red names, they are official members of the moderator team. Anyone else that claims to be a moderator
Mm-hmm.
or part of the moderator team, check the color of their name, or you can tap on or click on the icon of the person in Discord. It will reveal what position they have, what role they have in the community. It will say support advocate or lead support or moderator. If they don't have those titles, then they're probably fake. Even if the name sounds really familiar, it's probably fake.
Oh yeah, that's good to know now, because at the moment I can see people with red names and the yellow ones that you said. Okay, so what can you generally advise for example, someone got stuck with whatever kind of error in the app? What's usually your advice in terms of troubleshooting for themselves first before they go to that feedback button and obviously create a ticket?
Okay, first things first. So I would generally categorize issues into two. Okay, one is the type of issue that can be solved with a simple close and reopen of the app. So most of the errors that you see in the game can be resolved by simply closing and reopening the app. So errors like players not logged in yet, or even when you're already logged in and it says create a new wallet, because I've experienced this myself.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people have ended up accidentally creating a new wallet because they saw this create a new wallet pop up when they logged into the account. Whereas if you just logged out and logged back in, it will again detect that you have your wallet and you're good to go. So any issue that you encounter, anything at all, first things first, you could like try shutting off your phone, rebooting it, reopen STEPN. That usually takes care of it. You can also like try and disconnect your Wi-Fi, reconnect your Wi-Fi, but most of it can be taken care of by shutting down the phone, reopening the phone, and then reopening the STEPN app. So those are issues. Most of them are software or hardware issues with a STEPN. Moonwalking, restart your app. You're getting errors that you don't recognize, restart your app. Everything looks slow, restart your app, because of course that also affects your internet connection on your phone. So that's the first category of issues that I see in step N. The other category would be, I would think these are the Solana issues. So this is where the delays come in and where most of the people experience the um, maximum pain, the maximum challenge. So even if your Wi-Fi is the fastest Wi-Fi ever, if Solana is having a problem, your transaction is going to get delayed. It is going to get stuck. So there's really no solution to this because the problem is in the network, or sometimes even in the node that step N resides in. There's really nothing else that can be done but to wait. So when Solana, in the status page for Solana, when it says there's a network outage, you simply have to wait. Let the issue self-solve in about 24 hours and then check again. It usually gets cleared up by itself without you having to do anything. So if your issue does not fall into either of these two, then it's time to like tap that feedback button and reach out to us, and we'll handle the rest.
Yeah, sure, but that's very well said. And speaking of that, you've explained very well that usual Solana network congestion issue. And as you've said, we can't do anything but to wait. But I'm just curious if at least, yeah, we understand we need to wait, but at least is there a way to know that the network is congested? Because obviously we cannot assume that it's always congested, right? So if I want to transfer a soul because I want to buy a sneaker. So what's a good way to check that I should not do it now? I mean, shall I go to a website or shall I go to my crypto exchange site to check, or is there a special server in Discord where there's announcement? So can you suggest any way that we can detect beforehand before we transfer, because obviously once we hit that withdraw button or click button, it will go there and we need to wait, we don't know how long.
Okay. Well, first, let me preface my answer this way. So there will be times where Solana, when you check the Solana status page, it will say Solana is up and operational and running and everything is all green. Yet there will be people reporting that their transactions are delayed or stuck or missing, etc. It should be noted that it is possible to have Solana working without issues, but have issues that have underlying issues in the nodes, in the RPC nodes where STEPN resides. Without going into technicalities, we're using a third-party node, which if it actually is having issues, if there's slowdown, if there's any sort of issue with that node whatsoever, even us in step N wouldn't know that there's an issue until the people start reporting that there are issues. So the troubleshooting for such cases is the same as if there was an issue with the network. Again, go back to the logic where whatever you do, as long as it's recorded in the blockchain, whatever asset you're trying to transfer is still going to be there once the issue with the network or with the node has cleared up. So it's again a matter of waiting for the issues to clear. So if the rule of thumb I follow personally for my own account, and I have had very few issues with transfers, is if Solana status is saying everything's okay, I will assume everything is okay. And then I'll do a transfer. If I do encounter a problem, I'll just sit it out and wait. I have never waited longer than like about the longest I've waited is 4 hours, and I always get back what I sent. So before you try and panic, before you fear that you have lost your investments, take a deep breath, wait for 24 hours for the issue to self-solve. If anything, if it's still unresolved after that, reach out. You've got us. You just have to send a ticket so we can be updated about what your issue is, and then we'll take a look at it.
May we know what's the site where we can check the status of the Solana network? Do you have it in mind?
Wait, I do have it. It's status.solana.com.
Okay, that's very easy to remember, guys. Status.solana.com. And speaking of Solana, as we all know that the Binance BSC network is now incorporated in the app, and obviously that big, huge event of the A6 Binance Limited STEPN edition has been finished, and unfortunately, I'm one of those unlucky people who wasn't able to grab it, and now they're selling it really high in the secondary market. Have you had any? Because for me, even before they launched this network, I have this big impression that the BSC network is less issues, less congestion as compared to the Solana network. So I just want to know, because you're on the technical side, if there's been issues reported, or I guess is it too early to conclude that indeed BSC is a better network in terms of transacting this app transactions like minting, transferring funds, transferring assets. Have you had any idea already if it's indeed a better network to check soon for us as users?
So let's put it this way. Um, the reason Solana was actually, well, it should be noted that um, when we were just starting out, when STEPN was still a very small project with, about 30,000 users, the network was never an issue. We didn't have as many network issues as we are having right now. And it can be easily assumed that the size of the user base, of the player base of StepN itself, will always result in network problems, regardless of where you put the project, whether you put it in the Binance chain or in Solana chain. And the problem here is that it's quick. It's very easy to say that, hey, it would have been a lot better if we were in BSC rather than in Solana. It's very easy to look at it in hindsight. Like there's a saying that goes, hindsight is always 2020. Like everything seems so clear when you look at the past. Things would have been always better in the past. But right now, what we're having is, it is completely possible that the network issues we're currently experiencing is part of the growing pains of a project this big. Regardless of what network we choose, we are going to have the same problems. So that's my take on it. Both networks have their strengths. Both networks also have their weaknesses. But it should always be kept in mind that right now, with 300,000 daily active users, anywhere you bring step n, it's going to have the same number of users, and you're going to have the same network issues regardless of your network. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense at all. And in relation to what you just explained, that obviously the daily active users drastically increase and obviously put pressure on the network. So my follow-up question is, so at the moment, what do you know, or are you aware what step N is currently planning to implement to obviously address the growing massive daily number of users being um, involved in this step and app? Do you have any idea, or it's not part of your team to plan about all of this?
Without giving away too much detail, let's just say we are poised for growth. Like what Yuan mentioned in one of the latest AMAs, we are actually expecting to have 10 million users at some point in the future. So there's no timeline for that. It's something that we can easily see coming to reality with the exponential growth that we've had so far. So the infrastructure is being built without giving away too much. The infrastructure is being built, but everyone can rest assured that there will be enough room for more, is how I would put it without
Mm-hmm,
revealing
mm-hmm,
too much. Yeah.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right. So I guess that address all the major concerns that most people are wanting to ask. Now, I had prepared here some few questions that I directly grab from the general section of the Discord server, and I hope once we address some of them, it will at least give idea to most people to not ask them again. Like for example, someone said he is using iPhone 12, and he's facing an issue of fluctuations of GPS while walking. While it remains stable on the iPhones using the same network, what could be the problem? So I think fluctuation of GPS.
Okay, so GPS and speed issues have long been a known issue with Step N. So how I would put it like this. So let's say, for example, you have a pedometer that uses GPS as well, right? But keep in mind that across several hundred thousand users, you will have to calibrate your software so that it works on any age of phone, any hardware that's installed on that phone, any sort of GPS receptor, or any piece of hardware that's installed in that phone should agree, like making a 5-year-old phone work as well as a 1-year-old phone is quite a big challenge. Sometimes the hardware just isn't there. Like the hardware cannot keep up with the available technology right now. It's like trying to get a 5G signal with a phone that doesn't have 5G reception. So what STEPN tries to do is make the GPS detection in the app work with as many phones as possible. However, there will always be exceptions to whatever calibration we do. There will always be a phone with a chip or a hardware part that will never be compatible with STEPN. There will always be internet providers who will be unstable for STEPN to be reliable on its network. So these little variations will make complete calibration across all users impossible. But we continue to try. We continue to try and get STEPN working across as many devices as possible. You will see fluctuations in speed, in GPS tracking, depending on the device that you're using. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the person having that problem will no longer experience that problem the moment they switch a phone or the moment they switch a network provider. This is almost always the case. And again, it's because sometimes different combinations of network and hardware will produce different results. And so, yeah, that's one of the issues. It is a known issue. The GPS speed discrepancies is a known issue. It's something we're still currently working on.
All right. Yeah, that's a really the best way to explain with these questions that we got. So yes, I understand it, and maybe I guess it's good to. Do you think it's good if you publish, like, say, I don't know, in the website or in Discord, like compatible phones, so that people who still about to join the project will have an idea what type of phones will be okay, at least to maximize the profit? Or do you think, is that something that the team is planning to post somewhere or make an announcement some way?
Okay, so this is a very it's a very icky situation where we know there are specific phone brands and there are specific hardware pieces that just do not work as well with other compared to other brands and compared to other hardware when it comes to using step N. The problem is the moment you name drop a brand, everyone else who's using that brand will feel that they're excluded from the people who can benefit from Step N. So we would like to avoid the situation where, when we say, oh, we know we have known problems with this phone, for example, with phone X. What we may actually mean is that sometimes you're supposed to earn 5 GST, but sometimes it will end up being 3 GST. But it will come across to people as if you're saying, you'll never get any GST with this phone. You will always get zero with this phone. And everyone will generally say, that's not fair. That's not my fault. You should be able to make adjustments to accommodate this phone. And so again, this will come back to the point that I said, where we're trying to calibrate as much as possible across as many brands, as many hardware as possible. We don't want to exclude any brand, even if we know that that brand or that hardware is particularly problematic. You may still be able to earn from step N using your hardware. We don't want to stop you from earning 3 GST if 3 GST can be earned, even though ideally it should be like 5, because the opportunity to some people maybe the benefits may be far greater than the problems that you would face trying to insist on using that phone. So we cannot produce a list like that. Like, okay, these are the phones to avoid, because basically that's how people would read it. Avoid these phones, avoid these hardware. Whereas what we really wanted to say was, this may not be the most optimal brands or hardware to use.
All right. Yeah, that's pretty fair enough. We don't want to discriminate you if you have this kind of phone. And yes, it's very fair that we should not just, limit the app to specific types of phone. And I just noticed in this Discord server that there's a suggestion portion. So how do you determine which among the thousands of suggestions being posted in there, which one should comes next? Or how do you pick?
Okay, so I lurk in the channels in Discord. I don't really participate in some of these channels. Like, I don't chat. Say, for example, the meme channel, or the Flex Your Gems or Flex Your Shoes, or the Ideas and Feedback channel. The thing is, I read through them with the goal of finding which ones I could pick out and share with the team. So some of the suggestions that I've found there are very, very insightful, that I can personally see for myself how the project would benefit from using that suggestion. Um, it's just that the moment you try and declare in the ideas and feedback section that, hey, I like this idea, I'm taking it, it kind of it's kind of taken as, so you're only choosing that suggestion and you're ignoring everything else, right? Because that's how you would feel if your particular suggestion was not picked. So rather than mention, okay, we're picking this but not that, what I'm doing personally is just like not leave any hints that I'm reading the suggestions channel, and I just share with the team the suggestions that I feel would really help the project. Some of them share a common theme and are likely to be implemented once we have enough time and manpower to do it, like filtering by attributes, introducing different sound choices instead of just the chime when you're earning your GST, um, changing the measurement from miles to kilometers, depending on your preference, etc., etc., etc. They have a recurring. Some of the requested features are recurring, and that tells us a lot of people just want them. And I just share with the team these suggestions so they know what the community really wants.
Yeah, that's very true. And probably this is the last question I will pick from those so many questions from the Discord. Um, a lot of people are claiming that the GST earned after the update, and some said they're not getting mystery boxes anymore after the update. Can you comment on that, or do you know anything about that, or was it true, or they just felt like it was, but it's not actually? What's your take on this? I think most of them, a lot of people has been messaging that in the general section.
Okay, so I think the problem with this is, uh, hold on. Okay, so the problem with reports like this is that we get this every update, and I personally make sure, I try to test it out myself to see if the reported issues are true or not. So I do know that when they reported increased durability loss after the April 6th or April 8th
Mm,
update,
mm, mm,
I can tell for myself that there was really an increase in durability loss on that day, but that was because there were problems with the app on that day, which should
mhm.
have been fixed by the next maintenance that followed it immediately after. But when people say, "Oh, I got a lot less GST now," or "I got a lot less mystery boxes now," um, I always keep in mind that these reports always have they always have a certain bias towards them. Or remember that as humans, there's always bias towards what you see most prevalent in. Just segueing a little bit. So, say for example, in Discord, a lot of people are saying they are missing assets, right? But
Mm-hmm.
in my own experience, out of the 200,000 people who are in Discord, if we look at the tickets that we have so far, right now I have like about 200 reports of missing assets. 200,000 people and only 200 people with actual missing assets. And some of them have come back that they have found the assets that were supposedly missing. So the bias there is that if you're in Discord, you would think everyone, just absolutely everyone, is missing their assets. That's because the people who are missing assets are the most vocal, and they tend to influence the bias that you have in your mind about step N. So this also goes the same with GST earning, the durability laws. So with GST earning, you kind of feel the moment that you start right after an update, especially that whatever you earn, it's a lot less because you're expecting a lot more. For example, I personally get anywhere between 81 to 84 GST per run. If after an update I get 80, I'm not gonna say that it's immediately a problem with the GST earning. You need a certain period of time to observe if there really was a decrease or not. You cannot measure it in a day. Remember that there's always randomization to take into consideration, like a deduction or even an addition of 1 or 2 GST could be attributed to nothing else than randomization. So there's also this the changes in your GPS reception, your internet connection. Like there's always this perception that if your GPS is good in this area, it will never change forever. Like it's always going to be reliable. When everyone knows GPS is based on a satellite in outer space, it can actually be altered by weather conditions, atmospheric conditions, the reception on your phone, whether you're going under buildings, etc. There's a lot of things that could change your GPS reception. So no two runs are the same, is what I always say in cases like this. Before you claim or before you believe that you're getting less GST earnings, probably take some time to observe your earnings through a number of days. If it's consistently low, like if you have been getting 85 GST in the past, but now you're getting 68 for 1 week straight, then I would probably like, yeah, I would agree with you. I would personally agree with you that, hey, this is an issue. You should submit a ticket for that. But yeah, but just getting one run after a maintenance and saying, oh, GST earning now is way lower, I'd say, yeah, I'll take it with a grain of salt. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the best point that you had explained there is the randomization of the app, because people forget that that's one aspect, and it was clearly mentioned on the white paper that that's why they just put a range of how much you can earn per shoes, because again it will always be random at this given day. And can you give us, as obviously we know that you have a shoe as well, can you spill the beans a bit and let us know how many shoes you got? Do you have epic or rare or uncommon? And do you have 100 at the moment or?
Oh my God, no. I actually just have all I can say is that I'm probably the typical 4 month old STEPN user. If you have started STEPN at around December 2021, at around this time, just by starting with a single sneaker, you would probably have about 9 at this point, like without
Mhm,
exaggeration and
mhm,
without spending extra
mhm,
on anything. You probably would have about 9 sneakers, which is already significant for most step end players. So I wouldn't say I don't have any epic. I don't
mhm.
have any rare. I my uncommon is my baby,
Mm,
sneaker number one.
mm.
But other than that, so yeah, I'm just a common peasant when
Are
it
you
comes to.
is this one uncommon close to the level 30 or already in
I,
level 30?
yeah. No, I'm actually waiting for the use case to reset the stats, and then I do plan to raise it to level 30. I need to decide first whether I want it to be a GMT earning sneaker or a GST earning sneaker, because
So you haven't decided yet.
yeah, I haven't decided yet. So, yeah.
Not a financial advice, but go for GMT. Anyway, thank you so much, Gilgamesh. Any final message to all our community who has been really passionate about this project before we end up this show?
Okay, so first things first, for people who are not in STEPN yet, if you're wondering if it's too late to join, I'd say the name of our stage right now is Early Access. Early is in the name. You're still early. Join when you can, but of course, do your own research. Do not jump blindly into any project, including STEPN. Do your own research. I cannot advise you any of anything that you can do or should not do. Second, if you're already in, meaning you're already in Step and you're already in Discord or you're already in Telegram, always, always, always keep your guard up. Avoid scammers, close your DMs for the love of God. And yeah, let's keep moving. That's all I can say.
All right. Thank you, Gilgamesh. And I really learned a lot from this short conversation. And just to let you know, all guys, that when Gilgamesh agreed to, be interviewed, I felt like I minted an uncommon shoes because I don't know. She's so busy, and yet she gave us her time, precious time, to obviously enlighten us with all these issues that's been always been laid out in the Discord server or Telegram. So I hope, guys, you've learned a lot. Please take note everything that what she just said, especially in troubleshooting, submitting the tickets. Um, doing your research and those signals, GPS. She mentioned so much. And again, thank you so much for this time. And guys, if you want to ask more, hopefully we can grab her again in the future and ask her more. And who knows, obviously we're so excited with all the upcoming developments of this app. And I like it when she said that it's still early, because I know some people are very hesitant because of the floor price of the sneakers. But again, obviously, you need to do your research. And still, I always say the same as well, that it's still early. People thought that this is just another project, but no, it's not. That's why I'm so privileged that I get to be involved as well. And obviously, number one is the fitness that comes with this project. Thank you so much, guys. Until next time, and please let me know what you think of this project. And if you had future questions for Gilgamesh, please comment below so we know. Hopefully, we can book her again. And of course, please don't forget to subscribe, share this video so that everyone will know everything that what we had just discussed. Until next time, let's go and walk.